Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. Let's wait a few more minutes so everybody could join us. So feel free to grab a glass of water, a coffee, and we will begin shortly. Okay, so I think we can begin. So hello, everyone, again, and thank you so much for joining us today. Today in our webinar, we're going to talk about the Burgundy-Franche-Comté challenge. We're very happy to launch it together with all the partners here, which I'm going to present afterwards. We're going to give you further information regarding what is the challenge, what are the prizes, what are the timelines, what are the challenges, and what all of this include. Before we begin, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Dana Klidal, and I'm the director of GrowingIL. For those of you who don't know GrowingIL, it's a government initiative of the Israel. It's a government initiative of the Israel Innovation Institute. Lizoli. It's a government initiative of the Israel Innovation Institute, Israel Innovation Authority, Ministry of Economy, and Ministry of Agriculture. And it was created out of the understanding that in order to create here a strong ecosystem in the AgTech field, we need to bring our members together and providing them with a supporting platform for knowledge sharing, networking, and collaborations. Here you can see in the slide the different members that we have within our community. Up to date, we have around 500 AgTech startups and companies and 5,500 community members. So how do we do that, and how do we provide them with the supporting platform? We have two strategic channels. The first one is ecosystem development, which includes creating all sorts of activities from events, tools, and connections that bring value to our members. For example, connection to fundraising, strategic partner, and clients. The second channel that we have is open innovation processes or implementation, where we're trying to bring the high-tech access and the industry access by creating open innovation processes such as demo days, hackathon, challenge like this one, that eventually will create win-win outcomes. For example, joint POCs, etc. We've done things in the past together with Bayer Crop Science, the Ministry of Agriculture, and Adama, and the one that we're doing today. And before we begin, I just want to say one last thing, that in case you don't know, at the beginning of November, Israel's Agri-Food Week is back in person, which is very exciting, with lots of events and opportunities for knowledge sharing, interactions and collaborations with multinationals, agri-food corporates, investors, and many more. And in case you're interested to understand how you can take part or be partners in this event, feel free to contact us afterwards and we will provide you with further information. Before we begin, I would like to invite our colleagues, Business France Israel, and thank you so much for this collaboration today. It was amazing to work with you, Deborah and Karen. So I'm happy to invite Karen Gordon, investment advisor of Business France Israel, Tel Aviv French Embassy in Israel, to say some opening remarks. So Karen, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Dana. So I would like to actually thank GrowingIL for this beautiful partnership, and of course other partners on this challenge, the agency of Burgundy-Franche-Comté and AXA Climate. Hello, everybody. Just a few words about Business France, and then of course we'll move on to the main speakers. So Business France is the French national agency. We are part of the French embassy in Israel, and we are based in the Tel Aviv office. And so we've got two main roles. On one hand, we help French companies who want to get into the Israeli market in all fields of activity. And on the other hand, we also assist Israeli companies who want to develop an activity in France and set up an activity in France. It also includes M&As and fundraisings, but always, in regards to the French market. And so we're very happy to collaborate on this challenge, which will bring together many actors and players of the ecosystem on the French side and on the Israeli side. And this is it for me. So I'll give you back the mic, Dana.
Thank you so much, Karen. So before we begin and start to understand what is the challenges and what are the challenges of Burgundy-Franche-Comté, I just want to say that in case you have any questions during the webinar, feel free to use the Q&A button below, and we will try to refer to all your questions at the end. So with that, I'm happy to invite Nicolas Garnier, project manager at AER, to present the Burgundy-Franche-Comté region. Nicolas, the stage is yours.
The sun, I forget to press the button for the microphone. So sorry, and thank you for welcoming us to this session. I'm very glad to present the opportunity for you to work with our ecosystem and with our agriculture. First, we will speak about France and the region of Burgundy-Franche-Comté, because I'm not sure that you are aware about where we are. So Burgundy is in the center east of France, and we are between two big areas, which is Paris area and Lyon area, and we are very well connected with other countries in the Western Europe, like Italy and Germany. Our region, it's one of the most important for agriculture in France. So France is one of the main countries that produce agriculture products in Europe. And in our region, we produce about 4% of the added value of the region by the agricultural product than France, that it 1.4. So we have about we have more than 20,000 farms, and we have more than 50,000 people working on these farms. Our farms are in the middle size of France, with an average of 103 hectares, but there is a lot of difference between the production and the type of farms. So in the north of the region, we have a lot of crops, row crops with wheat, barley, canola, and the size of the farms are bigger, and they can reach 1,000 hectares. Then we have a mixed agriculture when there are also some crops like wheat, canola, and they mix with some cattle feeding. And this area, it's a transition to a too big area of cattle. One of the west part, which is more for meat cattle with Charolais beef, And on the east part, it's for dairy cows with the Franche-Comté and the Comté cheese. And we have also some in pink, some vineyard. So in the vineyard, the size of the farms are very small because the prices of the land is very high. So why agriculture is very important for us? Because from agriculture, we have a lot of industries working directly with these farmers. So in the north of the region, we can have some chicken because there is a lot of wheat, and so we have industry of we have industry of poultry. And in the east part, we have a lot of, in blue, it's the part of dairy product and transformation of milk. And in the south of the region, we have a lot of transformation about milk cattle, and we have a lot of meat industry there. And so, and in close to Chalon and Dijon, we are some flour milling industry and a lot of pastry industry. Working with that, we have a lot of clusters, and one of them is Agronov. Agronov, we have the general manager of Agronov with us today. So if you have question after that, we can ask her some question. So Agronov, it's Agricultural Innovation Park, was created in 2012. And they moved and changed their mind in 2016. Their goal is to federate innovation and stimulate innovation around farmers. Their goal is to transfer all the innovation directly to farmers. Agronov network, there is about 100 members in 2022. Not only in our region, but everywhere in France. And Agronov is very open to innovation and work with them, with these companies to develop new process and trying to find the best innovation for farmers. So Agronov, it's not only a cluster, it's also a technological park where you can find some laboratories, greenhouses, experimental fields. Then you can have access to experimental farms and farmers. There is some farmers who are interested to test innovation directly in their field. So today, this park, it's gather also the Chamber of Commerce of Burgundy. I will speak about them after because they are part of the jury. So Agronov, if you are interested, you could rent these greenhouses, you could rent some offices there, and you will be part of the agricultural team of the region. And the agricultural team, federated by Agronov, is very interesting. So you can see that, I don't know if I can. So Agronov is connecting with cooperatives, so you have direct access to farmers, and they are working with different cooperatives that have different production from cereal, cattle, vineyard, wood industry. They have also in their area and in the building, so it's very close to work with them. Different technical institute in the region. Tainovia is working on row crops, like Hervalis. Idel is working on cattle. Burgundy wine organization. And there is two big institutes in the region, and it's INRAE, which is the main institute of research in France, and we have center with 400 people in the region, with a phenotyping platform with different database about soils and the nature of soils and the DNA. So if we want to have access to this database to create and to see the evolution of the climate change on soil health, there is a specialist there, and we are very interested to work with companies who are interested in that subject. And Institute of Agro Dijon, it's an engineering school that provide a manager, and they are dedicated to agroecology and sustainable food. So if you need to have some skills and you want to recruit some people, we have a strong network of agricultural school in the region. For the field partners, we find the Chamber of Agriculture and Farm Leaders and BioBourgogne. BioBourgogne, it's an association for organic agriculture. Leaders, farm leaders, it's farmers who are interested to test directly innovation in their farm. Sorry. And agriculture, Chamber of Agriculture, it's something special in France. So Chamber of Agriculture, it's a sort of representative of the farming sector in France. There is some people who are elected by farmers to represent them in a committee, and Chamber of Agriculture is the main interlocutor to the French states to organize and to work to make the link between the French policy and farmers. And we have also in this link some private company interesting to finance agricultural innovation, like the Sangos Atoll. It's a company who are working on big data, and they have some cloud system for agriculture, dedicated to agriculture. And Crédit Agricole, it's a banking system in our region. So Agronov do some action in France and abroad and international. So they are working a lot of with a lot of experimentation partners to do experimentation. For example, we are trying to work, and we are working with Thermosive. We do a first test this year, and we expect to find another way to do a new experimentation and to improve the product about frozen vineyard for the next year. Agronov also organized for their members some trade fair, and they organize both on trade fair for their companies, and they do a big business event, AgMeetup, where allow companies to meet other companies, or to have meetings with research centers or farmers through the cooperative. And it's a good way for a cooperative like Alliance BFC, which gather about 12,000 farmers, to do the market about innovation. And there is an acceleration program called Toastolab, which is a program with Vitagora. Vitagora, it's a competitiveness cluster about food industry. So we are going from the farm to the fork, and it's not only a speech, it's a reality in our region. So Vitagora, it's a competitiveness cluster, like I said. They are gathering about 570 active members and 16 multinationals around food industry. they are gathering about 12,000 researchers. They are working with the region of Burgundy, right? So headquarters of Vitagrow, but they're also working with a big region like Paris region. Vitagrow is spreading all over the world, and they just opened in 2020, so during the crisis of COVID, an office in Japan, and we have a strong link with Japan and Kumamoto, and the Naro, which is the equivalent of INRAE for us. So we are working together about healthy food and how to produce with less inputs in agriculture. For agricultural food tech, we have another organization, but now they are merging with Vitagrow, sorry. It's Food Tech France is based in Dijon, and they gather every organization to spread Agtech and food tech innovation to France. And there is specific event for them, which is a toaster food use tech together, and they also try to put some booths of innovation on the big trade fair in France, like the CIAL in October, or the CIMA in November, which is an agricultural event in France. We have also a soft detail program, a soft landing program, sorry, and for the winner of the contest, we will work with them to have a week of integration in France with all the partners. So the winner will spend a week to have a lot of meeting in our region with partners, clients, and potential distributors, and we will do a tailored program with all our partners. So the startup challenge, our problematic, it's due to the climate change of the region. Agriculture is very important for us in the economy. And with these two crises, COVID and the Ukrainian war, we thought that agriculture and autonomy of producing food is very important for France. And Burgundy-Franche-Comté, it's one of the main region to do that. So we are working on more and more sustainable agriculture. So we would like to work on autonomy proteinic for the cattle feeding. And so we need to find the right balance between in the portion for cattle. We would like to work on optimization of the cost for farming, and the best way to produce cattle without antibiotic and other chemical products. So if we could take care about the animal welfare, it's very important too. Most part of our cattle are outside and eating grass. But during winter, we need to have some complement with soy and canola or wheat. And you can see on the green, the green line, it's soy, and soy is very high, and the price seems very high from 2012. So the average cost is very important for farming. So if you could help us to improve the portion and the cattle feeding, and to find this autonomy, if we could have some people to can you hear me? Yeah. So if you have some people able to help us to provide new new production in farming to diversify the production in farming, we are very interested in that part. For the second theme, it's more dedicated to biocontrol and biodiversity. Due to the European Farm to Fork program, we need to reduce the use of chemical product and pesticide. And for some production, it could be very difficult. So I think about the beet, I think about the canola. And in the same time, with the Ukrainian farming, we have the Ukrainian war. We have some problem to have access to fertilizers. So we are very interested about solution to make farming less dependent of nitrogen fertilizer from Ukraine. They are producing with a lot of CO2 too. So if we can reduce the impact of carbon dioxide, it will be very interesting. At the same time, we would like to have some to reduce disease from canola and mustard. Mustard is one of them. It's not a big production, but it's like canola, and there is a lot of disease on that. But mustard is very symbolic of Dijon, because we have Dijon mustard and we are producing mustard here. And we have industrial partner who would like to produce more and more mustard grain in our region, but we have a problem in rotation due to some disease that we could find in the soil. The third, it's the climate change, and what we can see from now, 7 years, we have a big problem with the climate change. We have a big drought, and very in the spring, from February, March, April, we have droughts. And the weather is warmer in March. Those vegetation start to grow, and they're blooming in April. And we don't know why, but at the end of April and beginning of May, we have very often now a frozen period. And that frozen period, it's a big issue for our one-yard industry. Because all the blooming is frozen and the production is reduced. We have also a lot of problem with a lot of hail in May and June that happened this year, and this hail can destroy all the production some weeks before to harvest the wheat, for example, or just after the blooming period and the starting of the production for 1 year. So it's very, very important issue. If we could have a comparison, so Bonn, which is about here in the center east of France, if we are in the projection, Bonn should have the climate of this area in the south of France in 2025, 2050 or 2100, depend of the production of the projection. The third, it's a regenerative agriculture. Our region and the policy of the region of Burgundy, it's to create a new agriculture, a new model of agriculture. We are producing a lot of meat and dairy products, and it's high value of this product. There are all these products are labeling, so we expect to continue to develop a very high level of agriculture in respect of the environment. and the societal challenge, because our agriculture, we are not an industrial agriculture. We are working on more and more regenerative and more social agriculture with a lot of program to feed all the territory and to be autonomous in feeding people. So in this challenge, we are very aware about new way to produce, a new way to reduce the carbon dioxide impact of agriculture. How can we diversify all the production in the region? So the jury will be composed by 3 main partners with AER. Alliance BFC, it's a merging of 3 cooperatives, and they gather about 12,000 farmers. So Alliance BFC will be aware about what the farmers' needs, and they are able to connect you directly to farmers and to spread your innovation directly on the market. The Chamber of Agriculture of Côte d'Or, it's more a representative, but they have a lot of technicians, and they provide a lot of advice to farming, and they are able to work with you in the acceptance of innovation in farming. They could make some study to help farmers to take the right decision with your innovation, economic study or technical study. And Agronov, I just presented them before, so I don't need to present them. And we have Liz-Laure today with us, and Liz-Laure will be our member of the jury. Yeah. And so if you need to have more information, you could have here my contact, and do not hesitate to contact us or Karen and Deborah, and we will be very pleased to help you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicolas. It was very interesting. Let's move on to Ophélie Tauti, the Innovation Manager at AXA Climate, who will present AXA Climate and also their challenges and needs. Ophélie, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Okay, so tell me when you can see my screen.
Yes.
Very happy to be here. So I'm Ophélie Tauti. I represent AXA Climate Innovation Team in Israel. AXA Climate is the AXA entity dedicated to climate change adaptation, meaning that we are part of the AXA group, the one of the largest global insurance and asset management group. And our mission is to protect our customers against climate risk through 4 activities. The first one is our parametric insurance solutions. It's an innovative insurance solution, meaning because we are using data and, for example, weather station data and satellite images to trigger the payout. So we don't need to send an expert on the field to assess the damage. We only use data in order to trigger the payout. So I think that we are solving the main issues of the insurance, because the payment is fast and fully transparent. And we also developed new services, because the strong mandate that we have from the AXA group is to prevent the risk. That's why we have already developed 3 business models, a new business model to prevent the risk. The first one is a consulting offer for corporates, in that we are able to project the climate change impact on the supply chain and production sites of our customers in 2030-2050. We are also able to support their adaptation journey by providing them the right recommendation and adaptation measures. We also developed consulting offer for the financial sector. So we are helping investors to assess the climate risk and the natural consideration in their investment. And the last business that we have developed is a training platform, because we think that to engage employees in the sustainable transition, they need to understand the climate change impact, the science behind the climate change, and also the way that it will affect their job tomorrow.
Ophélie, can you please put on presentation mode before we continue?
Yes.
In the down in the right.
Sorry.
Great.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. So a few numbers about our impact. So we have trained 4 million of employees of large company. We have already assessed 100,000 production sites, and we can protect through our insurance, parametric insurance solutions, more than 2.5 million of vulnerable people around the world through our partnership with the private sector, the public and private sectors. So a few words about health solutions, just to understand the parametric insurance. As I explained, we are able to use data, for example, the level of temperature, the level of precipitation, the number of lightning strikes to trigger a payout in case of climate events. So we define at the inception of the contract the amount, and based on the data, when the climate event occurs, we automatically trigger the payout. So it's an innovative solution because we can solve the main pain points of the insurance. The customer knows the data source that we are using. He knows exactly the threshold that we will use, the amount. So it's of course in a few days we are able to trigger the payout. With our consulting offer, we can target the corporate sectors, and for example, we can assess the vulnerability of their production sites, the vulnerability of, for example, in this example, it's the railway infrastructure, in terms of vulnerability, to climate risk. So we project their climate risk in 2030-2050 based on IPCC scenarios, and we can tell them the risk, and we can highlight the most vulnerable sites, and we can also assess for the agri-value chain. We can also assess the vulnerability of their supply chains, or the vulnerability of crops, for example, in specific location. And we can tell them to adapt their supply chain, to adapt their production sites. So, and we are able to recommend some adaptation measures related to the water management and energy consumption and so on. And for the financing sector, we are also able to target the asset management, the asset managers, to screen their portfolio, to identify the most vulnerable assets in their portfolio, and to help them to assess the ESG components of the assets. And the last initiative that we have is with FMCG leader and with an asset management group. We are launching a fund dedicated to regenerative agriculture. So the objective is to finance regenerative agriculture solutions through a private equity investment. And of course, we have onboarded the AXA Group in these adventures. So the AXA Group will invest 100 million. the Unilever, who is the FMCG leader, will invest 100 million, and TKO Capital will invest as well 100 million and will be the asset manager of the fund. And the role of AXA Climate is to be a risk and ESG advisor for the funds, meaning that we will screen the investment in order to identify the risk and to conduct with the TKO team the ESG due diligence. So it's a project. It's at this stage MOU that we have with the partners, but this is what we are working on by this summer. And the last business model that we have developed is our climate school. So it's a big success because we are training more than 4 million employees of large company in Europe and around the world actually. And we have developed several modules, 6 courses in order to understand the science behind climate change, the biodiversity losses. And we have also developed several modules in order to train and to explain to the main function in the company the way that the climate change will affect their job tomorrow. We can also fully customize this content with the brand of our customers and according to their needs. For this challenge, the challenge that we will offer today, it's to support regenerative agricultures because we are convinced that this is the only way to reverse the trend of climate change because it's able to sequestrate carbon, to increase the soil health, to increase the biodiversity life, and to preserve the water resources. And for these challenges, the objective is to identify the best solutions that we can combine with our insurance product, because we are willing to promote regenerative agriculture thanks to our insurance capabilities, or we can also identify this solution and support his investment process. And that's why we offer to the winner of this challenge 7 hours of ESG consulting to audit their activity and to help them to adapt the pitch and adapt the KPIs that they display on the pitch in order to raise some funds, especially impact funds, because we think that this is the type of investor that they can attract.
Thank you so much, Ophélie. So let's move on to the technicalities of this challenge. 1 second, I will share my screen. Wait for a sec. So we launched the challenge at the beginning of July. And here we are in the virtual kickoff event. The application deadline will be September 4th. And afterward, our jury are going to talk and decide who are the companies that will go on to the next stage. And the next stage will be the demo day, where a few companies will pitch in front of the jury. And the final decision will be made at the beginning of November during Agri-Food Week. And as for the prize, before we're talking about the prize, here you can see our fabulous jury. And as for the prize, we have 1 winner who will win the 2 prizes that Nicolas and Ophélie mentioned. And with that, I think that we go on to the most interesting part, which is the Q&A, where you can ask all your questions and understand more. So I'm going to stop sharing my slides. I see that we have one question from Aviv, who is asking, are you looking to work with startups that already have a product? What are the stages that you're looking for? Maybe we start with Nicolas.
Yeah, the stage could be different. What we see with experience, it's companies. We have a program or a product available for the market. It's better for them to come to abroad and to invest in France. But in another way, we are not a startup nation, but we have also some organizations help them to develop their innovation. So if you have a proof of concept and you want to adapt your proof of concept to the French market and the European market, we will be very glad to help you. It depends on the opportunity for us to reach the goal of the contest. And we are very interested by how to produce better with less entrance and to give more value for farming and to farmers.
Okay, thank you so much, Nicolas. Let's move on to Ophélie. Can you answer these questions also?
Yes, actually, with the regenerative agriculture fund that we are launching, we are targeting a company with a proven technology and and I think that we will be able to invest in a large ticket size. But we would like to promote all the initiatives because we are convinced that there is a lack of solutions today for regenerative agriculture. And we can also support them through our insurance capabilities. And that's why for the ESG coaching, we can target all type of companies, and especially if you have solutions to measure the soil health, the carbon sequestration. We think that there is an area of innovation in it's a requirement for regenerative agriculture. And also solutions in order to support the regenerative agriculture practices, robotics, and new genetics solutions. Because if you put in place regenerative practices, you need also to have an R&D behind that to be able to provide to grow several crops at the same place with resistant crops and so on. So we think that there is a lot of solutions around regenerative agriculture. So even if we can't be able to support all the solutions with our funds, we can promote them through other AXA capabilities.
Okay, thank you so much, Ophélie. One more question regarding the farmers in France. Are they open for new technologies? Are they willing to try it out? What is the notions that you're receiving from them?
Yeah, it's always the same. There is some farmers who are very open to innovation. They would like to test everything, and they would like to be in the performance every day. And you have people who are looking what's happened to their neighbor and showing like that. That's why we with Agronov and their network, it's very easy for us to test innovation, and it's very we can provide the right information to farmers and to help them to adapt to adopt this innovation.
Okay, great. So I saw that we had a technical questions at the beginning regarding the presentation and the slides. We will share the recording with all the slides so you can look after about the presentation again if you're interested. I see
Dana,
that
we still have another question. I don't know if you see it. We would like to get financial help to run pilots in France. We have a remote monitoring and control collars for beef cattle. And we also would like to get help in being introduced to potential distributors. So does anybody want to answer that question?
It's really easy. Yeah, we could find, it depends of what type of financial you need. I'm very pleased to answer specifically to this question with Karen. It depends of your project. If you want to have some capital, or if you are looking for research and development grants, it's not the same thing. So depends of the type of financing you are looking for. Sometimes you need to set up a business offices in our region to reach this financing. But in the same time, if you have innovation, we have some program between Europe, France, and Israel to finance innovation too. So it's difficult to answer exactly which type of grants you could have today, but yes, it's our job to help to help companies to find the grants and to develop their business. So it's my job.
And I think the best would be to apply for the challenge, and these, will address all these questions along the way. And of course, you can always write to us directly. I see somebody asked for Ophélie's contact number. So through Dana or myself, you will be able to get all the contact details.
Okay, thank you so much. So I think we reached the end of the webinar. Thanks again, Nicolas, Karen, and Ophélie. It was very interesting. And again, if you have questions along the way, feel free to contact us. And we're looking forward to see your applications. Goodbye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.